Alright folks, the Nintendo Direct is over and done with. The most exciting game they showed was golf, so that's how that one went, and now the gaze is turned towards Sony. Now Sony doesn't do
Watch Donkey have the exact same takes that I had on the Sony State of Play. While the entire chat was fucking flaming me for having those takes, they're gonna be pogging Donkey
E3 anymore. So I'm thinking,
and then watch me call it out, and then chat go, well, Donkey has some bad takes on video games from time to time too.
we're gonna get some big news here. Last November, Sony did a soft launch for the PlayStation 5. They made 100 units, and those sold out very quickly, but if you missed your chance, don't worry, because they are shipping out 10 more consoles later this month. Before we talk PS5 though, let's talk PS4, okay Harold? Is that okay with you? When the PS4 came out in 2013, that console was a joke. There was so many big games that year. GTA, 3D World, Last of Us, Pikmin, Bioshock, Rayman, Zelda, Animal Cross, Fire Emblem, Metal Gear. What did you have on the PS4? You have Resogun. Which, I'm not talking shit on Resogun. But Resogun, that's it? Then 2014, Nintendo just fucking steamrolled these guys. Mario Kart, Bayonetta, Donkey Kong, the 3-hit combo. Sony had nothing. It wasn't until 2 to 3 years after it launched that the PS4 started to become a respectable console. So the question is, how long are we gonna have to wait for PS5 to get its first real deal game? Naughty Dog. This is Sony's golden studio. They put PlayStation on the map with Crash Bandicoot, and gradually over the PS3, PS4 era, they have become the driving force behind PlayStation. These guys just put out Last of Us 2, so their next project should probably come out like next month. It should probably be done. I'm thinking it's Jak and Daxter 4, think about it, which is actually a reboot titled Jak and the Legend of the Ancient Crab. I would love to see Naughty Dog really go into left field here and not do another shooter, come back to doing 3D platformers and using everything they've learned from, Uncharted and Last of Us. Would this somehow stack up to Mario Odyssey? Probably not. Is there any marketability in the Jak and Daxter name? Probably not. But Neil Druckmann has gone on record saying that their next project will be very cool. So it's probably Jak 4 and the Golden Crab. PlayStation, show me Jak 4 and the Golden Crab.
Yeah, that's the big difference between me and Donkey, is that he's actually very good at platformers and loves platformers, whereas I don't like platformers and I'm not very good at platformers. I'm not very good at most games, but...
Okay, hear me out. Next Naughty Dog game is a new IP. Dinosaurs are involved, but they're cute dinosaurs, but they have guns. It's called Dino Gunther. Gameplay wise, it'll be similar to Uncharted, but with a heavier emphasis on platforming and exploration. It's still going to be very story driven with that naturalistic dialogue you expect from Naughty Dog, except that dialogue is now coming out of a dinosaur's mouth. I do think there is this expectation for Naughty Dog's games to push the envelope in terms of realistic graphics, so check this out. It's going to be goofy. You're going to have a photorealistic human character that gets sucked into a, cartoony video game world. Meanwhile, Gunther, who is from the game, he will get sucked into the real world. So you'll have these two very contrasting art styles. And there's a golden crab. Alright, Sony.
Okay, never mind. None of
Gunther.
these. I said none of these things.
That was a chilling new look at Five Nights at Freddy's security breach.
Grand Theft Auto 6. Sony, show me Grand Theft Auto 6.
Zelda?
Oh, this is Pokemon. Wait a minute. This is like an open world Pokemon. This is like a new video game. What the heck? It's like the Pokemon people actually made a new video game. It kind of looks like they made it in Dreams game, though. This does not look very good. How the fuck is this the top-selling video game franchise? This shit is making me...
Someone said grass equals Zelda, but it is literally true. Grass and, a little bit of fucking violin in the background literally equals Zelda.
Man, let's talk about like a real video game, Resident Evil 8. Now, this looks funky, man. There's a big guy that comes out of a thing and he's like, what are you buying? Resident Evil is on a roll right now, but it's also a weird time for new players to jump into the franchise. They remade 2 and 3. So you're like, well, are they going to remake 0 and 1 and Code Veronica? And turns out, no. They're remaking Resident Evil 4 next. However, from what I remember, RE7 was kind of a clean break, which is probably why they're calling this one Resident Evil Village and trying to be like, hey, Fuck those other games. Deathloop. Now, for my money, I like Fruit Loop more, but that's just me. This looks fun, but what they really need is a really stupid-ass, wacky story. Remember Dishonored? No, of course not. Nobody remembers those games because the story in that game was the most generic shit in the world. The game itself was...
The combat was really fun, though. I mean, that's what I said as well. Like, Dishonored is a fun game. It was a lot of fun, especially because the combat was really fucking good.
Very well made. You know, you had this great stealth action gameplay. The levels were, you know, really detailed and polished. Deathloop, you just need a good story. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece story. Just make it stupid. You know, make it weird. Make it different than just generic 101 formula bullshit. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Now we're talking my language over here. Ratchet and Clank on PS4 was the best one I've played yet. You had all these cool weapons like the disco ball and the pixel shotgun. The visuals were incredible. The only thing that game struggled with was, again, story. It was a remake of the original PS2 game, which itself had a very disjointed story, but it was also a tie-in movie game with the Ratchet and Clank movie, so for some reason they just spliced in random scenes from the movie into the game, even though the game was telling a different story, while also trying to make sense out of the random movie clips shoved in there. Are you confused yet? This isn't really the type of game where the story is going to make or break it, but it wouldn't take too much effort to do a better story than the PS4 game. Knack 3. Now Sony, show me Knack 3. Uh-oh. Sony has shut down the studio that makes Knack. Elden Ring. Am I right, gamers? Gamers, am I right? Show me Elder's Ring.
I'm a wizard. Take the power of the Elder Scroll to shoot a dragon.
Masterpiece. It's the greatest masterpiece of a game from Software. These guys are on a rampage. Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro. These guys are going berserk. We don't know much about this game, but I'm calling this right now. It's gonna come out in March 2023. We do know that Throne Man is involved. We know they're going back to the medieval fantasy setting, and apparently it's going to be open world. Yes, open world. When I heard that, I went, uh-oh, they are not playing it safe here. This is a gamble game. Now, the last two gamble games that came out were Cyberpunk and Death Stranding. So there is a very real chance.
Wait, what the fuck? When they say it's going to be open world, doesn't that just mean literally like all of the other From Software games as well? I don't think they mean like... it means grass. This is why they're not showing it. I mean, the other games were like... they aren't open world. Okay. They weren't like... they weren't open world... I mean, they weren't linear, right? I mean, From Software games... you could figure out whichever boss you wanted to fucking kill, you know what I mean? It was like all connected to one another. No, going open world and changing the core blueprint will be a huge gamble. I have faith in FromSoft. They've made nothing but bangers for years now. No, from all the other From Software games are Metroidvania-esque. The leak footage shows riding mounts. It's going to be more like Zelda in that regard. Are we unironically doing mounts plus grass equals Zelda now? Like, what do we think? Like, that the only open world game is Zelda? I like that we were just joking about that take, and now we're just adopting the take. Oh, it's Zelda. Every open world game that has features grass and a mount is Zelda.
This could blow up in their face.
You're the one doing sword equals hitting like Dark Souls? Pfft, no. I think the From Software game combat mechanic is unparalleled.
I'll take 10 copies. Gran Turismo 7. For some reason, I started getting into these simulation racing games last year, and what I found out is that racing against the computers is fucking boring, but racing against your own times in time trial mode is actually really fun. Unfortunately, the campaign of every racing game is built around racing computers. Will Gran Turismo 7 be smart enough to take
What would you consider Dark Souls? It's like somewhere in between linear and open world. When I think linear, I think like Call of Duty. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think because it's not like Skyrim, right? It's not like Skyrim or fucking Witcher, but it's also not as linear as it's branching? Is that what is the take? What would it be considered? It's non-linear. It has hubs. It's not open world though. Yeah. It's more similar to Metroidvanias than conventional open world games. How are people calling it linear? I don't think it's linear. Like, I don't think Dark Souls... I don't think From Software games are linear. Like, even Demon Souls is not linear. And Demon Souls was more linear than Dark Souls 3. It feels open world because almost every area is connected. Every area is connected. There's gates that bosses keep, but it's like saying Grand Theft Auto... The Grand Theft Auto, earlier Grand Theft Auto franchises were not fucking open world because, like, there were different parts of the map that were closed off, like a bridge that you needed to unlock. You see what I'm saying? Like, would you ever say Grand Theft Auto 3 is not open world? No, you would literally say Grand Theft Auto 3 is like one of the first like genuine open world games. But Grand Theft Auto 3 had parts of Liberty City that were locked by gates being closed, and then when you move throughout the story, you open that up, and it was a sandbox. I think there's a difference between like sandbox and open world. And Grand Theft Auto was a sandbox open world game, whereas like games like Dark Souls would be more linear, but still not fully linear open world. Chat is dumb as fuck. They think Dark Souls games are linear, Pepega. Linear to me implies that there is a boss, like there are levels that you need to follow through and bosses that you need to fucking kill and advance and da-da-da. And like Souls games aren't completely like that. I don't know why people are acting dumb. You understand exactly what I'm saying. And I think you're purposely trying to misconstrue the take because you want to go along with the narrative that like I'm not a real gamer or whatever. Where I'm not saying that it's like, I'm not saying the From Software games are like fully open world, okay? But it's not also fully linear either. I'm trying to find what the proper terminology would be to describe it. You get it? You get what I'm saying? And people are still more focused on saying that I'm not a real gamer, so my takes are dumb as fuck. Non-linear gameplay presents challenges that can be completed with a number of different sequences. Yeah, like... classification, branching storylines, visual novels, role-playing games, level design. A game level world can be linear, non-linear, interactive. In a linear game, there's only one path. Azan, ask chat reasonable question. Chat, you fucking dumbass. Yeah, literally, like, I am trying to... Open world zones / levels, not open world like Red Dead. Yeah, RD2, but... I mean, I'd go so far as to say that, like, there is, like, if we were to put, like, full linear versus full open world sandbox, if we were to do, like, a spectrum, right? Dark Souls and From Software games are somewhere in between. Like, God of War, for example, would be one step above Dark Souls in closer to open world. And full open world sandbox would be literally on like Breath of the Wild would be full open world sandbox on the furthest end of the spectrum. Whereas on the other side you have like Call of Duty or fucking Mario or any number of games that came before like 2008, you know what I mean? Like almost all of the fucking games, unless they were like RPG, open world RPGs that were sold as like sandbox RPGs, did not have like open world components in them. So I don't know where Elden Ring would sit on that spectrum. Metroidvania is used for this? Yeah, I don't know what Metroidvania... I've never played Castlevania, and I've never played Metroid games, so I have no idea. FromSoft has stated that Elden Ring would be open field, not open world. Interesting. And then Ubisoft decided every game was going to be open world. I don't necessarily disagree with that decision. That was a dream of mine when I was younger. I remember thinking like every game would benefit from having RPG elements in it. And every game would benefit from being open world. I guess I was wrong though, because Ubisoft isn't bad because they've turned every game into fucking RPG games with open world features. They're bad because they carbon copied the one successful style that they had, and it's like deeply repetitive and fucking boring, and it gets really, really insanely heavy after a while where you literally are doing the same fucking shit over and over again. You get it? Dark Souls still isn't a Metroidvania since the items you acquire to progress are just keys in some fashion, whereas in Metroidvania games, the things you acquire to progress heavily impact gameplay as well, such as like grappling hooks and wall jumping. Would you consider finishing Bioshock 1 and Infinite DLC? No, probably not. It's exponential or logarithmic. You wish you could be as good as games as we are at games because you low-key respect us. We pay your salary too, so the least you can do is take our advice and let us backseat while you play. Come on, bro. I mean, that's not even remotely true. I think most of you are not very good at video games, but it's easy to say that you are from the anonymity of your account.
It's incredible handling and the photorealistic graphics and give them the single-player campaign they deserve. No, but they are adding a character called Rupert. Alright, enough fucking around. Sony, bring out the big guns. God of War 2. Sony, show me God of War 2. Here it is.
Look, a Moogle. Stop!
Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. They're remaking the first part of the remake. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the new Kingdom Hearts. This shit is gonna go off the rails now. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's gonna get insane now. There was gonna be 14 different games you have to play to get the fucking story. Before this remake is over, you are going to have to play a fucking Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale mobile game to get the full storyline.
Did I run an ad at the top of 3, by the way, or at the top of 2? I think I forgot, right? Yeah, I should run it right now. Oh no, I did. I think I did, yeah.
Sony lost to Project Rectangle.
I disagree. You ran at 2 hours and 44 minutes. Thank you. Especially, you want to know why I disagree? In order to beef up the fucking Nintendo argument, he literally had to sneak in the Pokemon in there. And that was a very solid... Yeah. Like... You should consider playing some retro Nintendo games. Like, he literally had the fucking ad. Literally had to add, like, he literally shat on the Pokemon. I mean, still. You don't understand Nintendo Direct was good copium? Yeah, no, he's just a Nintendo fanboy. That's why he's wrong.